creator. That was a hybrid.
From cross.
Yeah, exactly. So this is similar.
But this is not changing the type of pear. So there's different types of pear all on one tree. So it'd be like a Honey Crisp apple and like a Gala apple all on one tree. It's very Willy
you could.
Wonka-ish.
It's quite an old
Willy
technique.
Wonka-ish, yes.
So what do you put on there to change the pear?
The first one, the tree already 10, 11 years. When I get my first pear, it's called Kiefer, one of the most common pear in the Midwest.
Okay.
And I said, well, it's all right, crunchy a bit. And by December, I pick some pear, just like your kid. It doesn't matter what they taste like or look like, you always love them because from your own. So I said, okay, but I like the Asian pear better. So I changed it by a branch. You put another Asian pear from somewhere else.
Yeah.
If I know you have an Asian pear, I get a piece of wood, I add it to my tree. That branch become an Asian pear.
This is too
It grows its own arm with a new pear.
Correct.
thing.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
the
This
tree
is unbelievable.
is so simple, very simple technique. It's nothing new.
And it helps you to keep trees alive too. Like if you have one that's dying past, then you can.
When don't have money, right? If you buy a tree, it would cost a lot. And I make my own trees only a couple bucks.
But all your own trees.
So Oriana, and we'll get to the film.
Please, no, that's what it's about.
Okay, so how long ago was when you planted this first one? You said it took 11 years. It was
60 years ago
okay,
when
so
I came to this country.
That very first pear tree, 60 years ago. And then you started doing this grafting technique. Fast forward to the year 2025, how widespread is your operation now?
It's not an operation. Actually, it's just a hobby gone out of hand. It's so true. I don't have money. I don't have the background. I don't have a degree. I don't grow up here. Don't go to school here. Think about all that. But I like to learn from other people. You can't go to internet those days. Never mind library. They would tell you something else. So you're just making your own and creating failure. You learn from it. So I bought this land. Is my blessing. And 30 years ago, land was cheaper. And find this piece of land I can afford.
And 40 acres, right, Oriana?
40 acres. I only
And where is it?
By Galena. That's the direction you're going, where it's cheaper. Because cold.
Joe Davies County.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay, Krista, what has your experience been learning about this? I see there's other fruits here too. So did you dive deep in your documentary about how she grew each of these different fruits?
Not a lot of them here we talked about. Oriana, do you want to quickly point out what we have here today?
Yes.
And this is all from your Galena?
Actually picked them yesterday from
from Skokie or Galena?
Skokie only a lot.
Only a lot.
But I bought the land 30 years ago. So I started Asian pear. This particular one from Korea. I have 20 varieties starting out. Now I pull only 7 I keep. And that's Chinese, most common Chinese yali pear.
And they are
all different.
They all taste like something you probably never had before.
Oh,
to really sell it.
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
Should we take a bite of it? Which one should we eat?
Are they okay?
It is up to you. Yeah.
Well, eat one?
Yeah. Maybe later. You won't quit in the middle of it.
Oh. Okay, chicks all over want to eat the whole thing.
Totally.
I want to introduce pawpaw. What's American? This is American fruit. You heard of pawpaw?
I have not heard of pawpaw.
Feel it.
Looks like a mango, but green.
Mango, papaya,
it's
banana.
got the same kind of firmness as a ripe mango.
Mango, papaya, banana, all in one.
And you grew this?
This American.
Wait, do you have to peel it, or do you just eat it?
You peel it.
You peel it.
You cut it in chunk. You scoop it with a spoon.
It's kind of
I just picked it yesterday.
The texture.
It smells so fresh.
Now this is hot. Feel it. That will take another week before you're ready.
This is ripe though, right?
Yeah, this you can enjoy tomorrow.
I have never seen it. So can people get this at the market then?
No.
You're not selling these?
They're very
I sell
hard
them
to
though.
come by here in this area. Yeah.
How I get into this? I feel bad by only promoting Asian stuff. Being Chinese, okay, well, that's the only thing I know when I'm starting out. I said every country has something best. Americans make from immigrant. I said, okay, let me look around. What's the best in America?
Yeah.
Okay, the biggest one is pawpaw.
Pawpaw.
So how did you make this on a pear tree?
No.
Oh, okay. So this is a different.
That's about at least a dozen seeds in there. So you take the seed and plant them in the backyard.
On a pawpaw tree.
Oh, you don't eat the seeds.
And pawpaw
no
is a
seed, no skin.
Native American.
Yes. Why have we never seen these before?
Because very hard to storage.
Yeah.
To store.
Yeah. Commercialized and like apples can. Oh, that's.
We have a duck in that.
Yeah, there's a duck phone.
This is for an upcoming segment. Apologize for the audio.
You can turn that off.
Oh, is that your phone?
Oh, okay. I thought that was the mentalist. It was an
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
I thought, I don't know about
Bring the duck over. What are these little things?
American persimmon. This is the biggest.
Persimmon.
This American, not the Asian one, is big, right? But this is only one is really ready to your taste.
Is this one, it might be a little squishy. Is this a fruit too? These are all fruit.
This is ready, not that.
Oh, this is not ready.
Nope,
so what is
see
this?
that.
How many acres do you have out in
Galena? 40 in a parcel, but I only work on 6 acres. I'm solo farmer.
Oh.
All these 4 fingers.
Whoa. This smells like a orange. You know, like when you buy candy and it's orange flavor?
When the immigrant come in,
smell that.
and when Thanksgiving, that's when
that's
Isn't that nice?
drop from the
that
tree.
is very. So, Krista, we gotta. I am completely sold on why.
Yeah, right.
You met her and like 5 minutes later you're like, okay, I gotta tell this story.
You can grow all this stuff, all from different parts of the world.
It's just unbelievable. My mind is blown that all this can be grown
here
locally.
Yes.
Because I think of California's, America's breadbasket. In Florida, you got the oranges, but here, Idaho has potatoes, but all the
That's
Midwest.
also American.
The only thing I think of is apples around here. And corn and soybeans.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Okay, so Krista. Tell us then kind of what unfolded when you met Oriana and then kind of how you proceeded from there with regard to making the documentary.
Well, Oriana, as you maybe can tell, is pretty game. So I just approached her asking if I could come to the farm and film some stuff, and she said sure.
Oh, sweet.
So that's mostly how I approached it. And behind it, so I run a production company called Shrimp Studios, and it's focused primarily on like agriculture and rural America. So sort of finding these stories that I think are so important about what we can grow or what we can do with food and land care in the area. So that's it.
Yeah, to be different, I think. Most of people will recognize my bun. No matter where I go, how many Asians doing this? And I've been doing it for 60 years as a hobby.
I see
you've just been just like a solo practitioner.
Right.
Not even
just collecting stuff.
Yeah.
And then find out.
Do you just kind of commute between? Are you still?
I live in
Skokie, and then it's
I farming. I go to the farm every week and bring in produce.
Okay, so I see you got a card here, which we were zooming in on, which is fantastic, and you have some other items here for sale.
Byproduct.
How can people buy your things? So you said that some of this isn't for sale. Can they come visit your farm and purchase these items?
I have some people do that.
Yeah.
But mostly you can reach me in the farmer market.
In the farmer's market.
Queen City Farmer Market and Logan is the 2 I keep. I'm getting to the point. I'm almost 80. I couldn't do all what I did before.
And there's a good number of restaurants that also use.
Oh, no way.
Do you have an apprentice?
I'm looking for it. I'm looking for. I'm looking for partners.
I've actually gotten really into gardening as a suburban dad. We don't do anything like produce
not yet.
beyond like basil and things like that. But exactly, not yet.
Is this your farm right here that we're looking at?
Yes,
this is your farm. Did you build that barn?
Yes.
Wow.
20 years.
Wait, this cannot be a one-woman operation.
My ex-husband and I put it together, that building.
Huh?
Take 20 years.
This is I mean, we pride ourselves, Caitlin, on being kind of DIY, Maggie and myself.
Yeah.
This is
another
beyond
next level.
Okay, if you can't afford it, what can you do?
You make it.
You make it yourself.
Yeah.
You make mistake. You learn from your mistake, and that's how I end up today.
And it's so inspiring. To me, what's very inspiring among many things about you, but is like it's so accessible. Like it feels like only special people know how to grow things, but things want to grow. Yeah. So it is just trying it.
To your point, and you mentioned how you couldn't just search things online 30 years ago. No. How did you learn all of this?
So someone said, oh, I got the best pear. I said, really? I come over and taste it. Most of the people have their own tree. They say they're the best in the world, but it's not true. So I said, okay, give me a piece of wood. I graft on that tree I told you about, grafted, take a couple years, I taste the pear. It's okay, you know.
A couple years, but no, it's
just a decade.
Yes. You always think what you own is the best, but you take a while to open up and reach out people. I go as far as Texas looking for some people.
No way.
This is Yali. Originally, inspired me in Texas, but these are Chinese origin. And Texas, the guy only grow Yali. And I said, it's totally different Yali than mine. I realized, learn one thing, the soil make a difference. The location, Yali is very easy to grow, but doesn't need a lot of cold temperature. So Texas can do it. And then you keep going. The latest addition is Mongolian.
Mongolia.
Mongolian pear.
Ugly pear, but tastes amazing.
Tastes good?
Wow. How did you pick Illinois? You mentioned Texas. I mean, aren't there better, like you meant, easier places to grow these
My parents moved here, not by choice.
Okay, got it.
So I got it here, and I said, well, I like to have my own garden because I can't afford the price out in the store, so I grow my own. That is the key pushing me. And I said, okay, I buy some land, the cheapest land I can afford. I call the extension office like everybody do.
It's like an agricultural extension where they...
And I said, I dare not say I grow ancient pear. They're going to laugh me off on that. So I said, I'm doing European pear, period. Oh, no, you can't do it. I said, thank you, hang up. And I go ahead and do it myself. Since I make my trees so cheap, doesn't matter. I lost them, I do it again. So the third year in the business, I call it business now. Then it was just a hobby going out of hand. The third year, I lost 100 trees. I lost everything.
Oh,
you lost 100 trees. What happened?
Because the weather.
Yeah.
I put in something not supposed to grow. But think about the top
Trial and error.
the root's still alive, and the sucker come up, right? And I regraft them. That's a grafting so important to know.
I can't wait to go down a full
I have workshops.
internet wormhole about grafting.
Those things I do in workshop or giving a talk is always free. You let me know.
There's so much information on the internet too. It's just learning people don't know to even look up grafting.
Right. You just look it up.
I've never even heard of it's just...
Yeah,
I
and
didn't know that was
we're so
possible.
separated. Like to your point about agriculture in the Midwest, it's so corn and soy focused, or like large scale, that a lot of us don't have access or wouldn't even think to be like, oh, you can. It's very possible to grow things.
Oriana, your growing season is when? Because the winters
tree
around
outside
here,
doesn't matter. Just like apple, they come back in spring.
Come back in the spring.
Amazing.
And then you've got. Okay, yeah, I did want to ask because I missed what this one is. This one is
Quince.
wild.
Quince?
Yes.
Quince.
From Middle East.
Chris,
What does this taste like?
The smell is knock your socks off. Leave in the room. We're using as a room freshener.
Kind of like how would you describe it? Like floral, citrusy?
Yeah,
One day ready.
Smells like
I just cut it off
the
in the
produce
tree.
section of the grocery.
Nice.
And then
So, the wonderful thing you can grow here, I think that's the best, is see what you can work with in your yard. Don't think about, in California. No, you can't compare it.
Here, Krista, I've got a question about just when you've gone to these farmers markets. You said you were looking for people who were doing things to show you that you could do it too, grow things that you could grow as well. Have you found other people who are bringing produce or have the same similar story?
I mean, Oriana's one of one.
Yeah.
But yes, totally. I mean, there's so many people who are doing this kind of work.
Really?
Yeah, I just think there isn't a ton of focus on it, because they're like Oriana is, like they care about doing the work and farming, not necessarily marketing.
Right.
Or and a lot of media isn't really focused, which thank you for having us, isn't really focused on these kind of stories, but I think it's so important. There are a lot of people out there,
I found it absolutely fascinating. Before we ask where we can check out the whole documentary, what are these here?
American black walnut.
American
Walnut.
You know about the furniture.
So we just need a little crack.
If you can break one, you get $100 from me.
Let's go ahead. Start that now.
I bet that
very
smells
hot.
good too, maybe.
And
Think about
there's
black walnut
some
furniture.
Nice
It's the
nutty
same
meat inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're really
Amazing.
hard to process, but they're delicious.
That's why nobody wanted to deal
You
with
can
it.
just snack on them?
No, you hammer it now.
You
have the hammer, open it up, and the meat inside is amazing taste. And then what they're good for? your heart, the valve, the oil will encourage that, moisten your internal.
Good protein.
Everything is about good.
This is so cool.
I love it.
Krista, if people want to know more about Oriana and watch the whole thing, where can they find it?
Great question. We just had a premiere at Middlebrow. If people have been there, it's a wonderful place. And soon it's going to be available online, and we're going to have a couple more premieres throughout Chicago. So follow Shrimp Studio on Instagram, and we'll be announcing that there.
Shrimp Studio on Instagram. Everybody follow along. I cannot wait to go home and taste some of this.
Yeah. Can you tell us what Shrimp Studio what that name came from? It's
I find it to be funny.
It's so cute.
Yes.
You have to.
I like it.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Cool.
Really, really
So
great. Krista
fun.
Kane,
Wow.
Oriana Kruszinski.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank
Visit
you
her at the
guys
market.
so much. Really, really appreciate you being here.
You and your green thumb. I can't keep anything alive.
Not yet.
How those
Not
mums-
yet.
How those mums doing?
The moms.
Yeah,
You
are
know
good.
what? My mom came and trimmed off all the dead ones, so I
She
think.
deadheaded for you.
Yeah, I keep my kids alive, but everything else
It's okay.
wayside.
Yeah,
You know,
we're going to allow it.
Yeah.
Actually, you got the land down there in Indiana. You can do something.
right?
Oh, yeah.
My little backyard.
Oh, you should.
This is also called Indiana's poor man's pawpaw.
Oh, that's what they call poor man.
They do
Poor
grow a lot
man's
in-
pawpaw.
100 years ago, you buy bananas expensive, they import.
Oh.
But people go to the wood and pick this for free.
For free. I
Banana,
can't wait to try the
mango.
pawpaw. I feel like an imposter that I didn't know
I
this
know.
is like a Native
Look online,
American
then.
fruit.
Pawpaw. P-A-W.
P-A-W. I like the
Don't
name.
eat the skin or the seed.
Peel it. So peel it.
It's
Use a
really
spoon.
good
Takes a
in
little
ice
work.
cream.
Like-
Makes a really good ice cream.
Okay.
I'm
very
going to
good.
promote it next year, Pawpaw Festival in Chicago. And going to serve pawpaw ice cream, pawpaw beer, and anything to do with pawpaw product.
Pawpaw beer.
It's American native.
go.
Why
Let us
can't
know.
we?
Great.
We'll be
We'll
there.
invite you. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be
All right.
there. Krista
Thank you
and
so much
Oriana,
for coming
thank you both
out.
so
Thanks for
much.
So we're having us. Amazing.
Yeah, super fun.
opening.
Thanks for bringing in enough for the whole
Enjoy them.
class
Yeah.
as well.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, everybody, but when we come back, we will explore this intriguing topic of the effect of gravity and our bodies with a doctor. When we come back, stay with us.
All right, 10:26. The time has come, you guys. We get to learn about how gravity affects our bodies, what we can do to make ourselves be more awake. Gravity can make you tired, so we see. But we are going to be joined by the professional telling us all of this info. Brennan Spiegel Good morning to you, Brennan. Not Brendan, Brennan. Can you hear us?
You got it. And good morning to you guys.
Good morning. Okay, so you are the Director of Health Services Research at Cedars-Sinai and UCLA professor. Because you have done this gravity resilience study, we want to talk to you about your book, Pull: How Gravity Shapes Your Body, Studies the Mind and Guides Our Health. And I am fascinated by this because I think that gravity is just one of those things that we don't consider. How can it affect us? How can it affect other people compared to how our bodies handle it? So can we first talk about how gravity was fascinating to you? Why did you study gravity on bodies?
Well, you're right. We don't think a lot about gravity. It's just always there. It's kind of like a fish in water. You know, the fish swims in water and it knows it's in water. It's designed for water. We're the same way with gravity. But from the moment that we're born to the end, gravity's constantly working on our body. And it turns out your relationship to gravity will determine your health and even your longevity. And this is something that I see in the hospital when I take care of patients and we take people, we lie them down flat and then get all sorts of issues, whether it's blood clots or back problems or cardiovascular problems. We are designed to stand up and move and engage with this force of gravity.
That's why, you know, when we were talking about our conversation with you, we mentioned how astronauts, when they get back from a long tour up in space, their muscles atrophy and things like that. It's like we're human beings are designed to be in a gravitational environment, right? So how did it occur to you to actually study the topic, though? You know, it'd almost be like the effect of air on our body. Like, what made you really zero in on this?
I mean, it's so obvious, it's almost inobvious, right? Physics came first and biology came second. And we are, in fact, a product of this planet. And when we look at our biology and our health through the lens of the Earth itself pulling on us, we realize that our goal in life, quite literally, is to stand up and stay up as long as we can and as well as we can until eventually, at least physically, we get pulled back down again into the earth. So that is, in fact, what we're trying to do.
Have that blood flow and all, the heart's beating.
You got the earth will eventually take us back in,
It's happening. So you mentioned gravity resilience and how gravity can make you tired. It leads to exhaustion sometimes. So let's talk about that, how different people have different abilities to handle gravity and how we can improve our body's ability to take on gravity.
I mean, exactly. If you just think about back pain, that's gravity intolerance. Swelling in the ankles, that's gravity intolerance. Or problems with lymphatic flow, or dizziness in your inner ear, not keeping track of the world, maybe feeling a little lightheaded. Some people get really like powerful butterflies in their belly when they're on a roller coaster, when they're falling down. What is it about falling that causes your belly to light up? And why do some of my patients who have, let's say, irritable bowel syndrome have those same feelings when they're not even falling? It's like they're metaphorically falling. Even our mental health, it turns out, is tightly related to our relationship to gravity. So it really goes deep, and the book gets into the details of what you can do about it, whether it's drinking more fluid so those pumps and tubes get that oxygen up to your brain so we can talk to each other right now and not pass out, or it's strengthening your back and your spine. All of this is improving your relationship to gravity.
Wow. Okay. So run us through. That segues perfectly into my next question. Is that we can't change gravity, but it sounds like there are a couple things we can do to at least compete on a little more effectively. So back, like posture, that kind of stuff. And then, is there anything sleep related? Caitlin was talking about sleep as a obviously we know it rejuvenates us, but is there a gravitational aspect there as well?
Yeah, well, let's start with sleep. So there's reason to believe that human intelligence even exploded when we went from sleeping up in trees to sleeping down on the ground, our ancestors, right, thousands and thousands of years ago. Because you change your relationship to gravity at night when you're flat. And what's happening in part is just the blood flow gets into your brain much more easily. The oxygen, and it purges out toxic pieces like amyloid proteins and helps you just recharge your brain at nighttime. And this is why it's so important to drink a lot of fluid, because during the day when you get back up again, all those pumps and tubes are working hard to get the blood back up to your brain. So the longer you sleep flat, the better it is for your brain health. And we know that that's even linked to dementia risk and cognitive function. It's literally changing your relationship to gravity that in part makes a difference. And then you talk about the spine and the back, and when you're awake and upright like you are right now, I use a standing desk at work. I know you guys are sitting right now, and that's fine, but you want to sit up, get your diaphragm up, strengthen that back because it lifts up your belly and the sack of potatoes that we've all got in our belly, the intestinal system. I'm a GI doctor. It's a sack of potatoes that we got to suspend up, and it turns out your gut health even is dependent on how straight you sit.
Ooh. Wow. Okay, speaking of your spine, I was just reading here that you have some spine decompression moves that we can try. Yeah. Can you shout those out? Is it just like leaning over and like relaxing your muscles?
Well, you can do that, and you can, stretch what we call the anti-gravity muscles along your spine. These are the extensor muscles that give you that chassis that straightens you up. Yeah. But also, some people will do hanging called deadlifts or dead hangs, where you hang from like a pull-up bar, and you don't need to do the pull-ups. You just use the bar and you let gravity straighten out your spine. And it turns out the longer you can do that, the stronger you are. And actually, there's evidence that the longer you may live, because the strength that's required to literally defy gravity, we know that song from the musical, the stronger you are going to be in relationship to it.
It's a good song.
Can I ask one quick question about that really quick? I know I just asked that.
You just like made my day, because I do hang a lot, just like the dead hang. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you can feel it in your, especially after
gravity.
All day. Yeah, when you're walking around all day and you're sitting in front of your computer, when you hang, you can feel, especially in the first few seconds of the hang, you can really feel your spine decompressing.
Well, I was going to ask, do we have to have that special, I've seen this apparatus where you put your feet in something and the board tips you over. Does that do the same spine stretch as like if you're hanging from a bar?
The compression boots?
Is one better than the other?
Is that what she's...
It's called a tilt table, and in the book Pull, I talk about that too. Some of my patients actually love hanging from the tilt table. You don't even need to flip yourself up completely. Just getting your head down far enough below your heart can change your entire relationship to gravity. And for some people, that can be great for the spine. You have to be careful, talk to a doctor if you have high blood pressure, glaucoma, for example. But generally speaking, that can be a very effective way to help decompress parts of your body that are normally compressed, whether it's that or inverted yoga positions or even flotation tanks. All of these are associated with improved mental and physical health benefits.
That's really cool. I feel like I would be remiss without asking, we were talking about before the show, Brandon, we were talking about fillers, like how everyone's using, in Hollywood, everyone's doing fillers to enhance their look, to fight, and we realize they're fighting gravity, aren't they?
Yeah.
With skin, skin sags, and the more your face droops, right? So, is there anything in the book with regard to our appearance and skin? Because this is all what our producer Adina kind of pointed out. You know what, everybody, this really is just gravity that's pulling down our skin.
Well, when we sag on the outside, as we all do as we get older, we sag on the inside too. And that's a sign that gravity is taking its toll. And you said before, gravity doesn't change, but our relationship to gravity changes. And it's about fighting back and strengthening your body and mind to this force that we're all born into. And so, the skin will sag, and fillers are one way to basically defy gravity, right, for aesthetic purposes. But you're absolutely right.
All right.
Okay, so we are defying gravity. Where can people find your book called Pull?
Yeah, Pull can be found wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. We've got an audiobook, Kindle, the whole thing. So
I love it. Thank you so much.
Coming for all of us, you guys.
Dr. Brendan Spiegel, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Such fascinating stuff.
Take care.
All right, you too. We're going to go to a quick break now, but when we come back, we are going to be previewing a major rematch in the world of rugby. Okay, a lot of Americans not familiar with this sport, but it's coming to Soldier Field this Saturday, and we are going to be speaking about Ireland versus the All Blacks after this.
So it's been pretty even.
All right, this is, in American terms, this is almost like the Super Bowl is about to come to Soldier Field in the world of rugby. The Gallagher Cup, the rematch, Ireland versus All Blacks, is taking place at Soldier Field this coming Saturday, November 1st. It's just days away. This is a major international rugby match, the biggest hosted in the U.S. so far this year. And the reason the stakes are so high is I'm just reading here that the last time these two teams met was in Chicago. Ireland actually won.
Yes.
Dane, I want to start with you. This is Dane Coles, legendary member of the All Blacks team. Explain to us in 2016 why that match was so significant. I hate to bring up bad memories.
Yeah, it wasn't great for me, but yeah, I played in that game. Unfortunately, we lost to the Irish team. It was the first time ever in I think about 112 years that we'd lost them playing in Chicago Soldier Field. But yeah, it was a great day. I think the Cubs won the World Series for the first time the week we were here, so we had a lot going on. But yeah.
Okay.
Bit of history there for us, unfortunately.
Let's talk about what everybody's probably looking at behind us. This is the actual Gallagher Cup. What is the significance behind this cup and the ribbons that are hanging from it, the history of this cup?
Well, it's a new cup. So Gallagher partnered with the All Blacks, but also we named this game the Gallagher Cup.
Okay.
Obviously, Gallagher are headquarters here in Chicago, and being a partner of this game, we're able to bring rugby to our home market where we live and work and play, and it just shows the resilience of rugby and the teamwork involved. Yeah, we'd love to be able to bring it here, which is, yeah, it's like you say, it's like the Super Bowl of rugby and a rematch. So 10 times they've played since 2016, Ireland and New Zealand. Yeah. 5 matches each they've won. So this is,
oh my gosh! So,
yeah,
it's
so
this
is like winner takes all.
So that was kind of a delineation. You guys had New Zealand had just dominated this matchup for decades and decades. Then came 2016, and ever since then,
yeah,
this has been, it's like 5 and 5.
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's intensified the relasport between the two nations. So yeah.
What in terms of turnout here? I know that like rugby here in the U.S. is very like kind of niche sport. I had a couple friends that played at North Carolina. That was kind of a big deal at UNC. And so what kind of, Soldier Field's a big venue. I mean, it's about 60,000 people.
Well, there's a massive Irish community here too, you know.
Yeah.
And we got, I think in 2016 the game was actually sold out. So the Americans know how to put on sports, and they know. So we're expecting a really good crowd, and I think we came here in February, tried to promote it, and there was a massive buzz, and I was actually quite surprised. The surprise how much Americans actually knew about the rugby game. So yeah, and if you're not, get down there. I'm sure you'll learn a bit more. But it's going to be a great spectacle at Soldier Field.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Obviously, both of you are passionate about rugby. Nathan, let's ask you. Speaking to people who haven't watched rugby, maybe they don't know how the game works. Why?
We've played a long time, and we still don't know how it works.
Oh, okay, so it's complicated. What's so exciting, and what makes you so passionate about the sport?
I think, obviously about the culture of the sport is different. So, ultimate team game. Dane and I play different positions. I'm quite tall. He's not as tall. We can play, and we can have a wing, for example, who runs really fast, who can be really light and really small, and we're larger, small, and not as fast. So that's great. It's inclusive, women's and men's sport as well, which is great. But it's just the physicality and the combat of the sport, which is really exciting. You don't need to know all the laws really, but you can appreciate the athleticism and the.
In general, you're trying to drive the ball into an end zone, right, or a goal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
It's like American football, but you can't pass the ball forward.
Right.
You pass it back.
The laterals in American football kind of remind me a little. It gets a little rugby-like when they're trying, desperation at the end of the game.
And we don't stop either. You have timeouts. It's like 2-minute halves of 40 minutes.
Wild.
So it's just non-split packed action for 40 minutes.
One thing that always strikes me about rugby, look at that. No helmets, very limited protective gear that you guys have on. I have to ask, it's kind of a serious question, but is CTE, you guys heard of CTE? Is it
there's a bit of history around that, yeah.
Is there have you guys noticed former rugby players, is it become an issue at all, do you know?
I think there's been more awareness around concussive incidents than before. I think as well. I think rugby's become safer now than it used to be.
There's been some rule changes?
There's some protocols in place. If you do have an incident that you can't return to play without in 21 days, or there's protocols in place. Yeah. So I think rugby's safer than now that it's ever been. Obviously, tackle technique is, it's been taught from a young age, so to try and reduce that risk. But yeah.
I want to draw your attention to what we're watching here. Can you describe to the viewers what's going on?
So this is it's called the haka. So it's quite it's called a war dance from our indigenous people in New Zealand, the Māoris. So every time before for the All Blacks, we do a haka and celebrate that, our history, and it's more just connecting us we play all over the world and just trying to connect us to the ground and represent our people back home, and and teams face off, but it's something we're really proud to do, and we've been doing it for a lot of years, and we represent our country, then we're really proud to do that.
If I was on the opposing team, I'd just leave the stadium. I'd be so intimidated.
I've been on the opposing team. And it scares the life out.
I know.
But I think I was really appreciative of the experience, because not many people get to stand in front of the haka before a test match, but it is intense.
And we will see the haka.
Yeah, for New Zealand and other countries like the Pacific Island teams will do they're like a war dance, but the haka.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, the haka is just for New Zealand.
And and the crowd will see that on Saturday.
Yeah.
The crowd will definitely see that on Saturday. Let's see, Gallagher. Okay, a lot of people know Gallagher because Gallagher Way.
That's it.
They're affiliated with the Cubs. What makes the company want to kind of dip into the rugby world here?
Well, we've got partnerships in rugby in the UK, so we're really proud of that. We line the values are like I said, resilience and teamwork and trust. They're big for us, and they're kind of the values of rugby. Obviously, this is an opportunity to bring it here to Chicago, where we've got 3,000 employees, and all our employees can be involved in the game. But yeah, it's a great sport to be involved in.
Well, let's talk about Saturday, the experience that people can expect. Obviously, the game, very exciting. Should people get there early? What are you guys going to have on display there? What can people expect on Saturday?
There'll be heaps of stuff going on before the game. I think you guys have tailgate parties and all that.
Sure.
You know, so hopefully there's a few of those. And I know New Zealand and Ireland are doing a lot to promote the game and make it a really good spectacle. But yeah, be a lot of action.
Yeah.
100%. And I know you guys, Chicago and America, do sport really well. So expect the action-packed.
All ages.
80 minutes, all ages, kids, bring your kids, you know, old people, young people, anyone.
Beautiful.
One more question. I know you're going to. I'm going to ask who you predict. I know who you're going to predict. There you go. Do you have a final score prediction?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty close. I know Ireland will get a lot of support over here, being a lot of Irish community, but I think I'm going to go 27-24 to the All Blacks.
Okay, there we go. 27-24.
Nail biter.
They will be taking home that cup right there. This is the Gallagher Cup. It is happening. Do you know if there's you said that the last time it sold out.
Sold out.
Sold out again on Saturday? So you're going to have to go StubHub, everybody. Sorry. Resale market. Okay, it's happening November 1st. Gents, thank you so much for being here.
Have fun this weekend.
Dane Coles, Nathan Hines, and it's all happening on Saturday. Thank you so much. And we will be back with one more segment here during our 10 o'clock hour, Chicago Now, when we come back. Taste test time. We have one trending story, though, that we have to mention. This is so sad, and this just kind of crossed our desk here. Walt Disney World. Have you been to Disney?
When I was 7.
When you were 7?
I still need to take the kiddos one of these days, but I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage, I think.
I know, from what we've heard, exactly. But so Walt Disney World has seen 3 deaths in the last 2 weeks, according to reports. A total. Now, since 1971, a total of 68 people have died at Disney World. 3 of them, though, in the last 2 weeks. The most recent one involved a man in his 60s. Apparently, it was a suicide, according to Orange County, the ME's office down there. And it was found right near the Magic Kingdom. And then prior to that, a man in his 60s died from a pre-existing medical condition. You know how this is one of those, like, bad things come in threes?
Yeah.
Ever hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so a man in his 60s died from a pre-existing medical condition near the Fort Wilderness campground. And then before that, a 31-year-old Disney superfan named Summer Equitz died. And that was also, they're calling it an apparent suicide.
Oh,
but
my.
Can you... Oh,
the happiest place on earth.
I know. Bad things come in threes a little bit, but yeah. So that's kind of trending right now. Was it on this show that we met that Disney superfan?
Yeah.
Was that on Chicago Now?
They wrote a book, right?
That's right.
It was like for adult.
Exactly,
adults, yeah.
because they are. Well, what do they describe themselves? Kind of a fan base within a fan base, where they're nuts about
very
it.
Very niche.
Yeah, very niche group.
I also heard Disney's a fun place to go for Halloween because they've got a lot of haunted things to go see.
Hey, Gurney, you got to give a shout out to Six Flags. The Fright Fest.
Yeah.
You heard of this?
Didn't
it's
you
really
go?
fun. We took Theo last year.
Yeah, last year.
The characters come out at night and they stay, I'm telling you, Caitlin, they stay in character.
Okay,
they stay in character.
Anthony, I worked at Cedar Point for Hollow Weekends once in college, and when I tell you, when you're preparing, I was in where I was scaring people in a haunted house, okay? I was terrified. It was dark, it was loud, but what I was gonna say is, beforehand, they have you in like this big auditorium area where people are getting their makeup done and everything, getting into character. These people are real, okay? You said they stay in character. They do even behind the scenes.
They're like getting into character.
Headphones on, will not acknowledge anybody else. They're like in the zone and they look so creepy, but they do. They fully embody this like creepy character.
I'm not surprised to hear that. I remember my son was a little, he held on a little tighter, you know, 6 years old I think at the time. And it was night, and we had just gotten done riding the Goliath, which is frightening.
Oh.
And it was stormy. It was actually kind of crazy going up the tall drop on Goliath because it was raining, it was windy. I was like, are we sure?
They allow that. I guess there was no lightning.
Yeah, there was no lightning.
Okay.
There was no lightning.
Whoa.
And yeah, and anyway, they do a great job up there as well.
Go.
All right,
should we
so
dig
if
in?
you have been with us all hour, this is one of the more, I mean, I've become kind of a gardening nerd in recent months, but we just spoke with Oriana, who is an 80-year-old, just like solo practitioner. She has 40 acres out near the Galena area, and she is growing what we think of as exotic fruit, but some of this is actually native. These are pawpaws right here, these green-looking mango objects, and then these are Asian pears. Okay, do you have a soft one?
No, this one's kind of hard.
Okay.
So these ones I'm excited to try. She said
Which
that
one?
the pawpaws, they're like a mix of banana, mango, and I think a pear. You're supposed to peel it and then do not eat the seeds. But she did say if you start eating one of her pears, you're not going to be able to stop. We're trying to find a soft one.
The softer one.
So that we could, like, you know, taste test. I'll bite a hard one. I don't really mind. I could do this.
You can probably get the gist of it, although these are
Oh, and also she taught us that
here
you
we
can
go.
have different kinds of pears on the same tree. So
Here,
you take
is
like
this one,
you take a bite. You can take this like the stem or like a branch and attach it to a pear tree.
Called grafting?
That's different, and it'll grow the pear that you're grafting onto it.
Oriana, this is way better than our.
It's not even soft, but it's so good. It tastes like an apple/pear. But she was saying that she couldn't afford to buy her Asian pears at the grocery store. So instead, she started growing them in her backyard, and now she has 40 acres of different fruit trees, and she sells her items. She's
only farming actually 6 acres of it, but she's working solo. Did you hear her say she's looking for an apprentice?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to be able to do this forever. But it's so cool because she brings her stuff to the local farmers markets, one of them being in Logan Square.
Yep.
Obviously, this is a seasonal thing. This is delicious. This is probably a day away from being perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they're beautiful. And she really inspires people in this new documentary that you can watch if you think that you can't, you can. So you might think, oh, I can't grow pears. I can't grow my own food. That's too much of an undertaking. But there she did it. And she bought this land about 30 years ago, I believe she said, when it was affordable. And now she's growing all of these different items. And she's, you know, passionate about it. I can't wait to see. Oh, look, there's the pawpaw growing on the tree.
Exactly.
See it come to life.
What did she call it? It's a poor man's banana. Oh, yeah. Back in the day, that was referred to as a poor man's banana because when she got started on this, bananas were
expensive.
I mean, they were very expensive to import at the time, hard to get. So poor people would just go into the woods and pick up some of these pawpaws here. The other fascinating thing, this whole grafting thing, she pointed out that she's actually got trees that, depending on the branch, grow a different variety of pear, because when you graft, I guess you put the wood in and it doesn't
on its own. And she'll show you how to do it. She said, come visit her farm, and she'll show you how it's done. It's AsianPearFarm1@gmail.com if you want to email her.
But what was the name of the studio? Shrimp Studio. If you want to follow online, we're going to both do it because we're just like, we're already in love with this woman. Yeah, Shrimp Studio on Instagram, and you can find the documentary about her hasn't quite been released yet because they're doing some film fests and stuff before it'll be available online, but that is something to for sure look forward to. And I just wish Galena was a little closer so I could go out there and do a whole story and do a whole feature story on it, Caitlin.
Yeah, well, what a fun show we had. The rugby players, by the way, rugby players are huge. I don't know if you guys could tell at home, but these guys,
like 6'4".
Every time we have a rugby player in, yeah, they're just massive.
260, but not like, yeah, they're built.
Big guys. But that'll be a fun event this weekend at Soldier Field.
Soldier Field, November 1st. That's going to do it for Caitlin and me. Gabriella and Tia are up next with a very exciting hour of Chicago Now during our 11 o'clock hour. And then you can join me on the news at noon. With Caitlin and Natalie. We're going to wrap up everything going on with the Greg Bovino federal court hearing that's happening as we speak. In the Loop. We'll be right back. Fox.
So much for tuning in to Chicago Now. This is the 11 o'clock hour, and we have a lot coming up on the show today. We definitely do have a lot. We have our guest sitting down right now.
Thank you for joining us.
So yeah, you're watching as all of this unfolds live. But let's talk about what we have coming up. Carrera de los Muertos, the Race of the Dead 5K, will happen in Pilsen this Saturday, and they're expecting 8,000 runners. They've already sold out of this, so this is very impressive. And then the other art fair presented by Saatchi Art returns to Chicago October 30th through September 2nd at Artifact Events in Ravenswood. Chicago has everything going on, right?
Every weekend there's something going on. It doesn't matter if it's summertime, fall, winter, we've got you covered. But first, we got to talk about the 50th anniversary of Siskel and Ebert, the iconic TV program that changed the way America talks about movies, and it has a deep Chicago history. Every Wednesday in November, audiences can experience films championed by Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, including Eve's Bayou, Breaking Away, and Lone Star, all at the Chicago Cultural Center's Claudia Cassidy Theater. And joining us the people who know all the answers, is Chaz, Roger's Roger's wife, and Deputy Commissioner of the Film Office, Natasha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here this morning.
Yes. You know, we love hearing that the screenings and events are free, but let's talk a little bit about first Siskel and Ebert. For you, Chaz, you know, 50 years is what you're celebrating. What do you think is the biggest legacy here for Chicago and also, I mean, across the nation?
So, first of all, I have to shout out for Chicago because before Oprah, before Michael Jordan, before any of those people, there was Siskel and Ebert, and they helped put entertainment in Chicago on the map, along with, you know, our jazz clubs and everything. And the people forget that they actually started the cottage industry of movie reviewing.
Natasha, I'll start this question with you. This is a month-long series. Why was it important for Chicago to have a stake in all of this?
Okay. Well, because they put a stake in Chicago in terms of filming, critics, and understanding. So if you think about Siskel and Ebert, they really were teaching generations what makes a film so great. And they broke it down. So it is important that Chicago recognizes that. On behalf of Mayor Brandon Johnson and DK's Commissioner Kenya Merritt, it is important that we recognize our figures, our historical figures, and we celebrate them.
I love that.
And I have to tell you something else. I'm so excited this morning to talk about this. People don't know that they wanted to do the show. You know, they were syndicated all over the United States, actually in other countries as well. They kept trying to pressure them to take the show to LA. Nope, they said, we are Chicago guys. We want to be here. People are real here. This is where we want to do the show. You can syndicate it from anywhere. They had it written in their contract that the show had to be shot in Chicago the whole time they were together. So,
and you know, it's interesting when people forget that Hollywood, before Hollywood, it was Chicago. It started here.
SNA Studios.
SNA Studios, which is still around. And it is important that we realize the power of Chicago, why it's such a great film industry town here. We have an amazing hub, and they are part of our history. So we have to celebrate those that came before us and what they gave back. So this is us giving back to their legacy that they left.
And may I add one other thing? You know, Roger actually fought when Roger loved technology as well. So when film criticism went from just being on the computer to all over the internet, and there were some digital film critics, even a long time ago, the studios didn't want to let them in the screenings. They said, no, if you're not in the newspaper, you can't get into the screenings. It was Roger Ebert who fought to get those critics who were online in the film screenings, and now there are almost no newspapers. So
very interesting how that panned out. Let's talk about, so on Saturday you have the live stage, but every Wednesday in November people will be able to experience these films. This is free to the public?
It is free to the public. We're having it at the Chicago Cultural Center, which is headquarters for DK's, and it's in the Claudia Cassidy Theater, and it is free to the public. We're encouraging everyone to RSVP. You can go to the Chicago Film Office website. Department of Cultural Affairs has also an event page where you can register. So we are really, really encouraging all those cinema lovers to come out, support. Chaz will be our first, we'll actually have a pre-screening discussion with Chaz on November 5th, so she will be our guest of honor, and each screening will have a post discussion. So after Drugstore Cowboy and Lone Star, we'll each have a panel discussion with some of their colleagues, their former colleagues, and those that are invested in the film industry.
I am so appreciative of what you're doing for that series, and you've chosen some really good movies, and I hear that you have a lot of interesting people to talk about them too.
We do, and I have to give a shout out to Alex Vasquez. He was like the brainchild behind this, and he's part of the Chicago Film Office. He's in charge of our programming, and the team has just come together, and we appreciate you for dedicating your time and energy and believing in the work that we're doing.
You know what, and because you're doing the 50th anniversary, I have to tell you something else that's happening. There's going to be a Siskel and Ebert play, a Siskel and Ebert documentary, a Siskel and Ebert narrative feature. And everybody said, can we do this in New York? We said, no, we want to do it in Chicago. Now, maybe we'll take it to Broadway, but it has to start here. So.
Yeah, I love that. So when it comes to these films, Eve's Bayou, Breaking Away, how are those films selected?
So these films, well, Eve's Bayou.
Okay.
I chose Eve's Bayou.
That's a good movie.
Wasn't it? A very good movie. Yeah. And Cassie Lemons, we wanted to have her come. I don't know if she's going to be able to come, but it was just, it was a breakthrough film, actually, for a black woman director at that time.
Okay, makes sense.
You know, yeah, and the rest of the films were all selected from how Siskel and Ebert chose them. They were all in their top 10. They were either #1 for that year or #6 for that year. So it was films that were very important to them.
Ah, interesting. 50 years is a big mark, and you know, I've heard of Siskel and Ebert, obviously, you know, stories told from whether it's news photographers that I'm working with or people on the street or comes up in conversation. It must be exciting though to hear a little bit more as you approach this, you know, 50th year anniversary, having these events, to hear more about, you know, the legacy that they left here in Chicago. Yes. Are you hearing that a lot on the streets?
Not only, yes, I am. And the thing that's so exciting, do you know, in film schools, young people know about Siskel and Ebert because they're studying them and they're talking. They didn't know what an impact they had on the film industry, and so we get a lot of letters over at RogerEbert.com from young people who know about Siskel and Ebert. That blows my mind. It does. So.
You look like you're getting emotional a little bit.
No, you know what? I was just going to, you know, I borrowed that phrase that boy from Chicago who met the Pope said. It broke my brain or something, but anyway.
Natasha, let me ask you, in terms of Chicago, you know, we look out the window right here on Michigan and Lake all the time, and we see the setups for films. What's being filmed here right now, and why is Chicago such a hub for a lot of the filming? Because it seems like if you go outside downtown right now, is always something being filmed.
Yes, so
and in the neighborhoods too, not just
in
downtown.
the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yes, so it is important that Chicago stays on the screen. Small screen, you know, that's TV, and the big screen and film. And so right now we have all our Chicago One shows, the Dick Wolf shows. We have Barbershop, which just has a TV series, so that's filming here. We are anticipating The Bear and The Shy to come back.
Yay.
There's some really great independent films that are filming here, so it is definitely booming. Commercials, music videos, student films. We can't, you know, they absolutely contribute because they are the next generation. So it is important that filming continues to boom here. It is an economic driver. So it drives jobs. You know, our businesses, they also reap the benefits of filming here. So the reason why Chicago is so great, one, if you look out this window, the landscape is unmatched.
Yes, it is.
It's unmatched, it's unparalleled.
Beautiful.
From our neighborhoods to our downtowns.
To
Chicago,
the cornfields.
To the cornfields. Chicago is a grid. Yeah, so you can easily navigate the streets of Chicago where you don't need to go 45 minutes away to find something that is unique in Chicago. It's everywhere you go. And so it's important that we continue to showcase our 77 neighborhoods and support them with film.
I love that. I was hoping you would tell us like something like sneak peek. That's what I was really waiting on. Like,
you was waiting on the sneak peek? Let me see.
But you know, with an event like this, it is nice to know that you're open to more than just inviting the mega film fans. You know, people who really want a piece of Chicago history. It's for them too, young or old.
Exactly. And it's important, as I said, Siskel and Ebert, they actually were teaching. That was a class, was in session when you watch those films. And coming from an independent filmmaker world as well, I watched them as a little girl. Yes, I'm dating myself. That's okay.
You know, 50 years ago.
Thank you. But I watched them as a little girl, and I was just intrigued in the way that they saw these films, and they were able to really weave through the surface and go in depth with their analysis.
And by doing that, you know, they also advocated for independent filmmakers. Chicago has a rich, varied tradition for independent filmmakers because Siskel and Ebert both, you know what, today I'm going to say Ebert and Siskel, they actually because it really was Roger. Sorry, Gene, I love you, but it was Roger who really first rooted out all of the independent filmmakers, and Gene did too. You know, I'm just joking. I love both of them. I love my husband, of course, more than I love Gene Siskel. But for independent filmmakers, they actually got other people to come in and invest money for independent filmmakers in Chicago because of what they did here.
Yeah, and as the film office, it's our duty to not just support major studios, but we also have independent filmmakers and we have student filmmakers. So we're constantly cultivating a culture that is, how can I say it, is inclusive, and it is encouraging, and we are going to continue to support.
Chaz, what made you want to continue this legacy? Sometimes we see people, you know, when people pass away that we love so much, we get buried in the emotion behind it, you know, and sometimes we kind of drop the ball. Not all of us, but some people drop the ball on the legacy because you're so wrapped up in the emotion of losing someone. What made you decide to pick up that ball and carry it forward?
Okay, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked me that because there's a little bit of a misperception about it. Because we started the business together, he was, of course, Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel before, but I did most of the business work. So we always worked hand in hand together. You know, Roger and I were together for 24 years, and he liked the creative part. I did the business part. So when he passed away, it wasn't as if everything was gone. There were still so many things. I was the philanthropic one, and I had already started endowing programs for upcoming filmmakers and upcoming technologists, and I wasn't going to let that all go away because he wasn't here. He wanted to encourage that, and I wanted to encourage it. As a result, I would send young people to film festivals, and I won't even say young people, emerging filmmakers to film festivals all over the United States and even outside of the United States. And so it was carrying on the tradition, not only his legacy, but the tradition of filmmaking and encouraging other upcoming storytellers.
And we're so happy that you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be here if you didn't do that. So,
you know, watching some videos of the two of them, you know, there's a lot of bickering.
Oh my God.
I bet people have asked this question before.
So
a lot of bickering. That's what I always think. What was their actual relationship like behind the scenes? Still a little bit of?
Like you saw it on camera.
Okay.
But the thing is, they also were like brothers. Even though Roger was a little, maybe slightly, couple of years older than Gene. Gene always liked to act like the big brother, and so, but they would fight, and there were they used to tape the show on Wednesdays, so there were sometimes they would have a knockdown, drag out fight, and I wouldn't go to the studio because I didn't want to see it. So I'm just, you know, that's just it. But after it was over, they could each say, okay, it's over, now let's go out and have a bowl of chili or something together.
our world could learn a lot from that right now.
I really could.
Right? Like, you have a difference, you know, differences of opinion, and you discuss it. We still don't agree, but I don't hate you. You know, I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could learn a lot from that. You mentioned that people need to RSVP to see some of these screenings of the films. How can they do so?
So they can go to the Chicago Film Office website, also DCASES, and I have to say this because sometimes people are like, what is DCASE? Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. You can go to that website as well and look at the events section, and you can RSVP. It literally, we make it as simple as possible, and we really are encouraging filmmakers, cinema lovers. If you love the show and you remember the show, and even if you don't know anything about the show, come out and learn and embrace this amazing, amazing program that we've put together.
I know I didn't get a chance to ask you this, but I got to ask you because I didn't say it. Natasha Parker Ologen?
Ogeen.
Ogeen.
The L is silent.
That's why I didn't pronounce it. I knew I would have botched it, but I'm happy that we got it right now.
Yes, Ogeen.
Okay.
Hey, can I say you one more thing?
Please.
Another reason for carrying on the legacy. You know, we talk about how divided the world is. Roger was all about empathy, that movies gives you the chance to develop empathy for somebody who's different than you, of a different race or age or socioeconomic status, a different religion. And it's so important to me that the empathy that he talked about that you could have through cinema, to carry that forward. So that was the other reason for it.
You know, it is nice.
Empathy.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Think about how many great filmmakers we could have had back then if they would have had the resources that you're giving people now. So thank you for that. We really do appreciate both your time, and we can't wait to see how this month of November goes every Wednesday.
I know, right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Really? Isn't that crazy?
Right around the corner.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
All right. And I know you have the Give Effect Awards coming too.
The FEC Awards. The FEC
I want to make sure I get it right.
FEC stands for Forgiveness, Empathy, Compassion, and Kindness.
Yes, I remember that.
And the FEC Awards are open. You can go to giveeffect.com. The nominations opened October 15th and they close December 1st. And in Chicago, we're having the ceremony next April 4th, 2026.
All right, so nominate some good people in the Chicagoland area.
About it,
All right. She was on already talking about it.
That's how I remember.
The book. You weren't here that day.
Again.
I know, but I was hoping that I said, maybe it's too soon. I hope that you didn't say, I don't want to see her again yet.
No. No, I love seeing your beautiful face.
Thank you. All right, 8,000 people are taking over Pilsen this weekend for a run. We're going to talk about all that coming up.
We'll see you on the side of this break.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. There is an interesting event going on this weekend in Pilsen.
Yes, it is, but it sounds like, do we want to go to breaking news right now? Is that what I heard, guys? Not yet? Okay, we do have some breaking news, so we may have to cut into our regular programming here a little later in the show. When that happens, we will give you a warning. But first, back to what you were saying. This is the 18th annual Carrera de los Muertos race. That's Race of the Dead, by the way, in Pilsen. It's happening Saturday on November 1st, and they have already sold out of this. This is crazy. 8,000 runners for a fourth year in a row. This is a record. We want to bring in right now Carlos Jaramillo. He's the founder and race director. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
No, thank you guys. Really appreciate the opportunity to come on and join you.
Yeah, thank you. So Carlos, even though the event is sold out, can people still come and go to Pilsen and cheer others on at least?
Absolutely. They can certainly come out and enjoy the race festivities. They can cheer on the runners. They can cheer them on both on the race side or up along the route, which goes through historic Pilsen, 18th Street, 16th Street. It starts and ends in Juarez High School. And they can certainly support the small businesses as well that are located across not only Pilsen, but across other parts of the city as well.
You know, Carlos, when you talk about supporting those small businesses, we know they need it because we know a lot of people have reported, sadly, that in Pilsen, because of the state of our world right now, people aren't coming out like they used to. Is that a concern for you as this race goes on? And if so, have you kind of planned around you know, some of what has happened? We can't ignore, you know, that ICE agents have taken over, you know, the streets of Chicago in some cases.
Sure, it's certainly something that, you know, we've been monitoring, and as you mentioned, right, we can't ignore it. It's very disheartening in many ways, you know, especially seeing how these businesses are down 30%, 40%, and in some instances over 50%, which is why I feel like with our race, we take a lot of pride and we love our runners. We love the fact that after they run, they make a morning, they make an afternoon out of it. Not only do they go up along 18th Street, but they explore the rest of the Chicago Latino neighborhoods and beyond 26th Street, you know, down Pulaski, and they're providing, you know, very much needed economic impact to these communities surrounding us. And to us, we feel like that's us, you know, as runners, as Chicagoans, as Latinos doing our part. And now more than ever before, we're definitely going to be pushing that for this year.
You know, it sounds like people are feeling the same way, and they're taking your message to, hey, still show up, hey, still support those businesses, because you have 8,000 runners. Is this the most you've ever had? Do you hope to have more in the future?
Yes, I mean, you know, when I started the race back in 07, you know, I thought I could get 3,000 runners that first year, and we did. We had 300 runners, but I knew we had something special. And, you know, when we hit 3,000 runners, maybe 5-6 years into it, I was like, no, let's not stop here. Let's keep growing this, because I want more and more people to experience Dia de los Muertos and Carrera de los Muertos, you know? And so to answer your question, yes, 8,000 runners is the most we've ever had. We don't take it for granted. We're extremely grateful for everyone that has registered, that has signed up, and that has even come out to.
Can I just grab a chair?
We are coming to you with a Fox 32 special report, breaking in now to Chicago Now with information about U.S. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. He is in charge of the Border Patrol operations in the Chicagoland area, testifying today during a hearing on potential violations of an order that was put in place by a federal judge here in Chicago. Some of those violations include taking U.S. citizens into custody who allegedly were not charged with any crimes, as well as deploying tear gas in neighborhoods and upon peaceful protesters. So there were several things that were agreed to during this court hearing today. I've got Paris Schutz, Anthony Ponce joining me now. We have Anita Blanton, who is live inside the courthouse. She has been kind of giving us a play-by-play here of everything going on. You're taking a live look inside the Dirksen Federal Building, where CBP Chief Gregory Bovino came this morning, and amidst a large group of protesters, he entered the federal building. Roseanne Tejas is outside, so you can see we have team coverage on the issue. The biggest revelation to come out of the hearing so far, and it is not over yet, is that Bovino will have to appear in front of this federal judge here in Chicago every single day to give her a breakdown of exactly what happened that day between Border Patrol agents and residents in the Chicagoland area, give her a report of people who were detained by Border Patrol that were not illegal immigrants, and give her a reason as to why those U.S. citizens were detained. This is video, by the way, of earlier this morning. And Anthony, maybe you can talk a little bit about what we're seeing here.
This is him entering the court. This is just before 10 this morning. That is Bovino, and he may look familiar because this has been going across a lot of folks' social media feeds in recent days. The video in question pictures him. He appears to be throwing tear gas on a group of protesters. So there was a lot based on the updates we've gotten from inside the courtroom. And again, Anita Blanton is inside Dirksen right now, keeping us updated via text. It really seems like this judge, Ellis, is trying to kind of shorten the leash and demanding that he come back on a daily basis. According to Anita's transcript of what transpired, when the judge said, "I want daily check-ins," he responded back by saying, "In person?" She says, "Yes, in person at 4 o'clock every day." He responded with, "Well, sometimes I'm in the field." But it seems like she's really trying to monitor exactly when tear gas is deployed. And she's actually also asked him to backdate all the way to September 2nd. She wants documentation of every single incident in which these CBP agents deployed tear gas on a group of protesters.
And Paris, can you kind of give us an overview of how this all began? The lawsuit that was filed that led to the hearing today, and then Anthony and I, in the meantime, will brief viewers on the changes that have to be made after today.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a very fascinating outcome here, where the Judge Ellis is basically acting as some sort of oversight to this Operation Midway Blitz. To this point, has really had no oversight, and it stems, as you said, from this lawsuit filed by a bunch of plaintiffs, the Chicago Headline Club, which represents a bunch of journalists. We are not associated or affiliated with that lawsuit, full disclosure, but it was after journalists had been hit at Broadview by tear gas and munitions, saying it was violating their First Amendment rights. So these TROs are an extension of that lawsuit. The judge saying, okay, you know, you have to give verbal warnings and you have to be in imminent physical danger if you're going to deploy tear gas. And she's saying she called them in for this emergency hearing because of the videos that emerged from Little Village and then Irving Park over the weekend. There's a video from Little Village that catches Mr. Bovino tossing tear gas himself. Now, what's fascinating is he says, well, he was, the rock was thrown at him, and DHS has put out a heavily edited video today that appears to show a rock coming somewhere near his direction, but the judge is saying, well, was your body camera on? And he said, no, he doesn't have a body camera. She said, well, the body camera is your friend. You know, it will catch the rock being thrown at you if you say, a rock was thrown at you, and that's why this happened. Now you're seeing Old Irving Park, and you know, let's look at her. Judge Ellis was clearly frustrated by what had happened in Old Irving Park. She had basically said, quote, these kids in this neighborhood, they were going to a Halloween parade. Their sense of safety was shattered Saturday. It's going to take a long time for that to come back, if ever. Not only was it shattered, but it's connected to something that should have been a happy day. So this was when agents went down a residential street in a very, you know, semi-upscale, densely populated neighborhood with lots of kids, which really irritated the residents. We had one on last night who said, I'm no leftist protester. I'm just a resident here who's outraged. He watched a runner, a 70-year-old runner, be taken down and tackled, which came up today in the hearing, which is one of the reasons why the judge is saying, now you have to document for me. You have to meet with me every afternoon now and document who exactly is being taken in, because we really don't even know the undocumented immigrants who are being taken in. They put out a series of, you know, tweets sometimes saying, well, this gang member was taken in. But, you know, according to the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, a database that's kept track of this, and they don't dispute this, more than 71% of the folks they've detained do not have criminal records or convictions on their record. One more point that is kind of underscored by this hearing today. There's two separate agencies carrying this out. There's ICE and there's Customs and Border Patrol. Mr. Bovino leads Customs and Border Patrol. And there are some reports today that ICE is frustrated because they've been doing this work in cities like Chicago since they were created after 9/11, and CBP is not. They're used to chasing and apprehending people at the border. Now you see them coming into a city like Chicago, a densely populated urban area, and they've had a lot of trouble here. They've engaged in tactics that local police do not engage in anymore because they're too dangerous for a residential area, like tear gassing, like high-speed chases, stuff like that. And so there's reporting coming out. As the Trump administration, there's other reporting from Fox News that the Trump administration wants to give more power to CBP and take it away from ICE because they don't think ICE has been aggressive enough, reportedly. And CBP has. And you're seeing why. Because they're the ones engaging in these tactics.
In just a minute. I don't know if you can hear a producer. We're going to go live to Roseanne Tellez. So hold that thought, please, Paris. Roseanne, you're sitting outside the Dirksen Federal Building. We expect Gregory Bovino to be leaving soon. Tell us what you're seeing.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, you're going to be looking at the back of my head a lot because I want to keep monitoring the situation here. There is not a huge group of protesters here, but they're a loud group of protesters that started growing from, say, 7:30 this morning. And for the most part, we even talked to a pro-ICE protester who said, gee, everybody here has been treating me very nicely, and you know, said it was much better than when she had protested at Broadview. On the other hand, there are some hecklers who have been heckling the federal marshals, you know, definitely voicing their opinions, and at sometimes exchanges getting a little heated. But right now, everybody is just waiting. We are told that he's on his way out. There is another exit on the other side of the building. We have a crew over there, too, so we're just waiting to see the exit after Bovino got this news today that, as we heard, I think Anthony put it nicely, they're tightening the leash. Judge Sarah Ellis, the U.S. District Judge who is hearing this case about accusations of excessive force being used by ICE agents here in Chicago. So once again, the crowd out here, they're loud, but it's not a huge crowd. There's a huge police presence outside, and there are officers on bikes. And honestly, I would say that the crowd has grown in the last half hour. But right now, we are just waiting for Greg Bovino to exit the Dierks Federal Building. I still don't see him coming, although, you know, there's movement. There's the feeling that he must be making his way down here. Again, a lot of the protesters happy to hear what they've heard so far about what the judge may have decided today. So I'm going to toss it back to you in the studio while we keep our eyes open and keep watch.
Yeah, you know what, Roseanne, maybe we can keep your live picture up if your photographer can give us a good view, and we can come back to you as soon as he comes out. But
absolutely.
Let's talk about, do you have a thought, Anthony?
Well, I want to point out to folks that are just joining us that we've been getting these text updates from Anita Blanton, who's inside the hearing right now. And a short time ago, she quotes Greg Bovino as saying, we will abide by the TRO, okay? Right. He verbally committed to doing so. Paris, maybe you could back us up a little bit, because this lawsuit from the Headline Club alleges, in count one here, that on a daily basis since the initial TRO went into effect, that they have violated it every single day using, and by they I mean CBP, by deploying tear gas. And you said, as we were heading out to Roseanne, that the Trump administration perhaps wants CBP to even have more leeway to use these tactics.
This is reporting coming out of Fox News, basically saying that they're going to get rid of a lot of the ICE field directors in big cities. Chicago wasn't mentioned in that report, but like Denver and I think I can't remember the other big, Dallas Portland? Maybe, Portland, some big cities here, and giving more authority to CBP, which again, their jurisdiction has traditionally been the border. You know, when someone escapes across the border, they're in a wide open space running, or maybe in a border town, and now they're in Chicago employing a lot of those tactics. And, you know, another report from CBS News has cited ICE sources saying they believe that that's why this backlash has gone so crazy here, is because CBP has acted so aggressively that it's naturally caused a backlash. And judging from the witnesses that we've talked to, that tracks. I mean, when you've got these agents in camo and weapons marauding down your residential street where your kids are about to go to a Halloween parade, that's going to radicalize, you're both parents here, it's going to radicalize any parent to anger, to like, what's going on here? And so CBP has been responsible. They were responsible for the South Shore helicopter raid. That's CBP. One interesting point about, you know, Roseanne waiting for Bovino, sometimes the chief magistrate judge will allow like high-profile defendants to go in through like the garage or the underground so they can avoid this.
And that's how
Bovino. Bovino's going to go out through
Okay, and that, to that point, because we thought perhaps we wouldn't see him enter the building this morning because it was a very chaotic scene. He did not.
Yeah.
He did not.
Yeah.
I want to bring up some of the things that the judge has now enacted, and one of them we brought up earlier, and that is that Bovino must check in every single day at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
they agreed on that time every day except for weekends to kind of detail the activities of Border Patrol in Chicago each day. The other was that the Customs and Border Protection agents have to have at least 2 identifying pieces of information on them, indicating who they are and where they're from.
Right.
The other one is that they all have to have body cameras, and this was under the initial order issued by the judge. He's saying there are 201 agents here in Chicago now. He doesn't know how many of them actually have body cameras. He's not wearing one, and we were showing that video earlier, which kind of precipitated this hearing, where he was shown throwing a tear gas canister.
So somebody was rolling on that.
Somebody was. He's saying but he has agreed now to undergo the training to wear a body camera, and he says by the end of the week he will have one on and rolling.
See, this has been standard protocol, though, for Chicago police and big city police departments for years now. Body cams, especially after Laquan McDonald in 2017, that was part of the big reforms for CBDs. Everyone's just got to wear body cameras and have them rolling.
I think you can check me on this, but this year or last year, it was made Illinois law that all departments. So it was recent that all departments have to abide by it here in the state of Illinois.
Sure. But it kind of underscores maybe the lack of preparation that CBP has had to come into a big city and engage in law enforcement. When these are typical big city tactics. I had Eddie Johnson, the former superintendent, saying we don't use tear gas because we don't find it effective as crowd control, A. B, we don't do high-speed chases, especially down residential streets, and you saw that on the southeast side, because, you know, a kid could be chasing their ball out into the street. And unless it's a really dangerous person that we can't let get away into the community, we just kind of will rely on other tools to go and apprehend that person. And that is not what we've seen CBP doing. So what you see from Judge Ellis is some attempt, through the vehicle of this lawsuit from the Headline Club and others, some attempt to get some order and oversight and control. Now, how will the Trump administration react to this? They have not been kind to judges that issue rulings they don't like. They might attack this judge for this and say, like, why is a judge determining what our law enforcement policy is going to be? There could be some real strong words there.
Speaking of strong words, some strong words quoted by our own Anita Blanton from Judge Ellis today. She says, I know my lane and I'll stay in it, but I'm also not afraid to enforce the TRO. I won't tie their hands, but I'm going to expect that they know and understand their responsibility in terms of use of force. So, and apparently just moments ago, Bovino and his team says, just so you know, we object to the earlier order, and the judge responded back, I'm sure you do. And everyone chuckled, just like Paris there, and this is a standing objection. But again, far as we know, the outcome of this particular hearing is a lot more daily oversight by the judge, who I'm wondering, Paris, if this judge has basically taken on the role of this is the last line of kind of I don't want to say defense, but a voice for the neighborhood kids that you were referencing with regard to, hey, we're on the way to a Halloween party, and some of these tactics that tend to work and are safe and effective in border towns where there's more open space don't necessarily translate into an urban environment.
And one of the Irving Park residents that we spoke with last night, Brian Culp, basically said that, you know, as far as he knew, the agents were going after a couple of day laborers and construction workers that were in the. So is it worth that kind of risk to go after people that don't seem to be a safety risk that maybe you can apprehend another way? Another thing the judge said is that Halloween is Friday. She says, I do not want to get notices of violations for agents out and about where kids are present and tear gas or pepper balls are being deployed. I bet you, especially in Irving Park or some of these neighborhoods that have been hit, there's a lot of worry about that. You know, it's tough enough to drive on Halloween during the late afternoon. And so if you've got caravans of federal agents that are chasing, that could be very combustible. And so, you know, maybe the CBP agents will take heed and maybe lay off on that day when kids are going to be out trick-or-treating. You don't want to risk traumatizing them unless you're going after the worst of the worst. And here's the other part of that. This was in the Fox News article. The clash here is between the camp in the White House that believes that they should go after the worst of the worst versus the Stephen Miller, top aide Stephen Miller camp that says just go camp out in a Home Depot and get everybody that you see that you suspect to be undocumented. And that's what CBP has done. We've seen them literally in Home Depot parking lots.
Well, and
not ICE. ICE is not ICE has been targeted in their enforcement. That is what they've been trained to do.
And I think, you know, I've seen a couple interviews with border czar Tom Homan, and he has said, look, this all goes back to the beginning where we warned big cities like Chicago, if you don't hand over illegal immigrants, he did not use those kind words, that terminology, to us who are already in custody, who are already incarcerated, we will come to your city and we will find them ourselves.
True, yeah, and they were trying to pressure the city to kind of roll back the sanctuary protections, and the state as well. But let's remind everybody that Chicago has had sanctuary protections since the days of Harold Washington in the 80s. And, you know, President Obama was referred to as the deporter-in-chief. He was able to deport tens of thousands of people, his ICE agents and DHS.
And I think that's why that Broadview facility was established under the Obama administration.
So they were, I mean, did DHS like sanctuary protections? No. But they were able to carry out their mission despite these protections being in place. And obviously, sanctuary is a big debate. People like it, people don't like it. The thing is, legally, courts have upheld the law as constitutional. It's not violating federal law for a city to have these kinds of protections on the book. And the other thing, and I asked the ICE field director this, why can't you issue a warrant? And they said, well, it's too complicated to go through the process of getting a judge to sign a warrant. But under the law, if ICE or CBP comes with a warrant, the city will cooperate with them. They just haven't done that.
We understand that Roseanne is standing by as an interviewee. Roseanne, why don't you take it away and introduce us to who we are hearing from here?
Because of what's happening.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, my station is taking this shot live. We'd like to ask you again, just to repeat how you feel. You've just become an American citizen on this day, and we're all waiting for Greg Bovino to come out, and we were discussing ICE in the city and how that impacts you. How do you feel today?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I work really hard here. I have been working for 10 years as a green card holder, and I just got a citizenship because of what is happening here, because I'm scared of, even though I'm a green card holder, I'm not sure if I will be stopped or not. And then I feel there's a mixed feeling about what's happening here. I mean, I don't have much to say, but I just have a mixed feeling about it.
Mixed feeling, is it dampen your enthusiasm about becoming a citizen?
No, not really. Not really. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Again, what a backdrop. Some newly sworn-in citizens leaving the federal building carrying their American flags. Right now, again, we're waiting for the departure of the border chief, Greg Bovino. I do not see him coming. I do see another crowd just checking behind me to see what we have here. But the protesters are waiting. And as you mentioned in the studio, you know, there are back doors. There are other people who would have taken the back door. I don't think that entered his mind. I think he was prepared to come and go through the crowd, and will probably exit at this door as well. But we haven't seen him yet, so we're still waiting outside of the Dirksen Federal Building. I'll toss it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Roseanne. Great interview there. Good context. So as we await his departure from the Dirksen Federal Building, Paris, I want to focus on this. So let's say that this judge's order is violated once again. We heard Gregory Bovino agree to several different terms, but let's say those can't be fulfilled by week's end. What could happen?
If the terms are not fulfilled?
Correct. I mean,
I think that you've seen that this judge...
Could they drive the agency out of the city?
She's been very quick to issue these emergency hearings. You know, this was within days, and so the plaintiffs have asked for the ban of the use of tear gas altogether, and you can certainly see this is like a warning system here. Here's one warning, here's two warnings, here's three warnings, and maybe if these are not complied with, you could see that they just ban. That the judge bans tear gas. Now, does she have a legal authority? I don't really know the law on this, but you could see it go there because this judge has been pretty aggressive.
All right. 9 minutes ago, this hearing wrapped up, and our own Anita Blanton is standing by in what we, in local journalism, call the bullpen, which is the lobby of the Dirksen Federal Courthouse. A lot of times, you can see the defendants coming and going from one vantage point.
Usually only politicians.
Yeah, politicians, exactly. I've been out there many a day where we're waiting for folks like Michael Madigan or the Blagojevich team to go in and out of there. It looks like Anita's getting set up there as we wait. That's an elevator bank right there. This view, the elevator banks are kind of to the right as you're looking for your screen. So we are expecting to perhaps see Gregory Bavino emerge from that elevator bank at any moment.
And maybe make comments there. Every now and then
Yes,
you'll see attorneys or folks stopping to make comments. And Bavino has not been shy about having film crews kind of document his exploits, but will he talk to the media? I don't know.
Let's see if Anita is ready to give us an update. I saw she was getting set up there. I know it can get hectic in the bullpen as a lot of reporters are kind of vying for the same space there in the right backdrop. Anita, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Give me just 1 second here. Can you all hear me?
Yes. We got you loud and clear. You have been giving just the best text updates to keep our viewers informed. We've been waiting on with bated breath for your updates here, but some of these quotes, we've been quoting your text messages all morning, and it really seems like Judge Ellis has taken a pretty strong tack here in response to this most recent filing in federal court saying that since the initial temporary restraining order was issued on October 17th, they are accusing Greg Bavino and Border Patrol agents of violating that TRO by using tear gas. They are claiming that it's happened every single day. Anita, you were there for the court hearing. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, so they allege that there were about 7 incidents since the TRO, and she, they kind of went over Old Irving Park, Albany Park, 2 in Little Village, so on and so forth. So from the start, the judge kind of eased into the hard-hitting aspect of it. She says 3 things could be going on here. 1, no one understands her initial ruling. That's fair. Maybe she wasn't clear in what she meant. The second thing was that, all right, maybe no one read it. I mean, it's a lot of paperwork. So maybe if you have a whole lot of emails, a whole lot of papers being thrown at you, plus your regular job, you're out there on the streets, maybe no one read it at all. The third thing would be that if everyone read it, everyone understood it, and then they just decided to act in their own way anyway. And she said to prevent that from being the case and to make sure everyone was on the same page, she wanted to go back over her TRO line by line. So that's what she did today. In their presence, of course, with Gregory Bavino there on the stand. She went over the fact that both of them have taken oaths. She went over his oath, what his responsibilities are to the United States, her oath, what her responsibilities are in the judicial branch, his in the executive branch, and what they're supposed to be doing as they go about executing their duties of their oath. And she says, okay, so if all of these people are sending in videos, maybe if it was one person and they sent in a video and the plaintiff said that that was a violation, maybe she'd be leaning toward the side of saying, all right, you know what, maybe I'm not catching the right angle. But if all of these videos are coming in and they are showing what she believes to be clear violations, then something is amiss. So again, she went over the whole TRO line by line to make sure that Gregory Bavino understood exactly what she meant when she issued it regarding excessive force and regarding tear gas, especially, and chemical irritants being thrown out into the air. And of course, we ended up here because just over the weekend, there was a video from Thursday of Gregory Bavino tossing out a canister into a crowd in Little Village. So she says, I brought you back here sitting face to face so we can go over this line by line. Remember that the initial TRO was because of tear gas and excessive force, allegations of excessive force against journalists and protesters out there at Broadview. But of course, there have been so many different things that have happened since then. So she went over the order as it pertains to journalists and what they are expected to do when it comes to credentialed media or those who are documenting things who are identifiable, may not have credentials but are clearly identifiable. She went over the order as it pertains to protesters who are lawful and what they should be doing if they are exercising their First Amendment rights. She says, you know, I mean, it's okay for people to exercise that right. If people say that they don't like you, that they don't want you here, that they want you and your agents to leave, that is well within their right. So if they are within their right, then you have to be within your right. She also went over, okay, what exactly is excessive force and what is deadly force even, because there were allegations in video of a woman who had a knee on her back. Obviously, there's a whole lot that comes with a knee being on someone's back. So what can you or can't you do when it comes to chokeholds? She went over the Customs and Border Patrol regulations when it comes to use of force and use of deadly force and from that standpoint of things and what the expectations are. So she laid it all out, and then she says, all right, so now that we're on the same page, you've heard all of my expectations where these things are concerned. I want you back here every day, 6 p.m. to give me a report of what's taking place. You can let me know, hey, everything went great today, or hey, everything kind of went awry today, and explain why that happened. She wants to make sure that everyone has body cameras. There are about 201 federal agents that are operating in our area at this point in time as a part of Operation Midway Blitz, and just recently, Gregory Bavino touted really, that there have been about 3,000 apprehensions, 3,000 arrests that have taken place thus far as a result of Operation Midway Blitz, and that is a success in their eyes. So she says, well, how many of those agents have body cameras? Because that was a part of the extended order, was that everyone was supposed to have body cameras on. She asked Gregory Bavino, do you have a body camera? And he said, no, I haven't had the training. That was a moment of pause there, she came back and said, so you're the commander of this operation. I told everyone to have body cameras, and yet the commander, and here he is right here behind us, these are the attorneys who were with the federal government who are now coming out right behind us.
Ongoing nature of the proceedings, we're going to let the judge's words speak for themselves, but we will be around after the hearing next week to provide further comment about the case.
Do you want to say anything about the order today?
Not at this point. Thanks, you all.
Okay, so they said that they do not want to comment on what's taken place today, but that they will once they have a little bit more clarification moving forward. Those attorneys stayed back because they were actually wanting to object to the things that were ordered today, saying that they weren't given enough time. On Friday, they are supposed to come back with some documentation of the body camera footage. Who had body camera footage? And if there were agents who have had body camera footage, not everyone, and Gregory Bavino said this, not everyone has body camera footage, again saying he doesn't have body cameras on him, but there are agents in the area who have body camera footage. She wants to see it all. She wants to see it all dating back to September 2nd. And so those attorneys for the government were saying, dating back to September 2nd, you want us to get all of that to you by Friday? That's impossible. She says, well, if it's over 500 videos, if there are over 400 reports of excessive force and they're all finalized and you feel like that's too much, come back and tell me that by Friday. But if not, if it's less than that, then you should be able to tell me something. They went over the timeline as to how things are reported and when things are finalized. And according to CBP, in their regulations, that report is due by 24 to 48 hours after excessive force is used. Initially, an agent would have to tell their supervisor that they had to use some excessive force, and then the report after that is then filed. So going after that, she says there should be some reports that have been finalized that you can readily turn over to me. At this point in time, if I'm dating it back to September 2nd, there should be some body camera footage I'm asking you from September 2nd, there should be some things that are readily available that you're not having to search through, that you can turn over to me. That's what she wants by Friday. And before that even happens, she wants Gregory Bavino, starting tomorrow, to start reporting to her at 6 p.m. every day to let her know how things are going in the field. She initially said 4 p.m., and he said, well, I'm still working at that point in time. So they agreed on 6 p.m.
That seems to make sense. That seems like a reasonable compromise. Anita, let me ask you this. You know, having heard the hearing itself, can you describe Gregory Bavino's demeanor? Was it defiant? Was he listening to the judge? Some of these quotes that you sent in via text seem like the judge was taking a pretty hard tack here, but will you just describe Gregory Bavino's demeanor?
I felt he was well prepared. You know, I don't think it would have been advantageous for him to be defiant in this setting. If you're thinking about that, that someone still has to make a ruling, you know, could be on your behalf or against you. I think he was well prepared for the moment. There was a lot of yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, Your Honor, I can do this, Your Honor, we can do this, Your Honor, we you know, need more time for that. So definitely not defiant.
So, Anita, any idea what comes next? We know that there's a hearing on November 5th, and that was already planned. So, in the meantime, what are we going to look for?
So in the meantime, again, we anticipate that Gregory Bavino will start having these daily reports with the judge. We anticipate that on Friday that his attorneys will be back here with documentation of what's been taking place. Basically, the judge said, the camera is your friend. And if you think about that, that's essentially for legal filings, for attorneys in their proceedings, and even for our local law enforcement. That is kind of the outlook on it, that I can't have a he said, she said if there is documentation. If a camera says, if a camera shows what took place, then you can't really go back and forth about it. Of course, going back to the incident that happened on Thursday where there's that video of Gregory Bavino throwing those canisters out in the crowd in a little village, he says that rocks were being thrown at him, and therefore he threw out the canisters to disperse the crowd. But there's no footage showing that. So she wants it to be less of a he said, she said, and more documentation. So starting tomorrow, he reports to her, and then starting on Friday, his attorneys will come back here and they will give some documentation. She gave them some instructions as to how to file the documentation, whether it's videos or any type of other file that they may need to get to her. She wants to be able to look over all of those things. Anytime there is an instance of excessive force or an allegation of excessive force, she wants to be able to look into it and have clear understanding of what went wrong or what happened for that to be used. So those are the immediate things that'll happen. And of course, again, we're not talking about a whole lot of time. So November 5th will be that hearing, the preliminary hearing on the injunction. And even that, with the attorneys asking for more time for the documentation, she said, hey, I'll give you more time if you'd like. We can push the November 5th hearing back a week. But that TRO is still going to be in effect until that time, to which they immediately said, no, we'll keep November 5th as the time frame. Again, we're already coming up on November, so we're not dealing with a whole lot of time, but in the meantime, she has set some very clear expectations as to the things that she wants done.
And we understand that Mr. Bavino did specify, hey, we will abide by the TRO, Your Honor, as you reported. Anita, we are looking at some live shots from right outside the Dirksen courthouse. Looks like there's a huge group of protesters there waiting for Gregory Bavino to exit the building. Before we kick off our noon coverage, Anita, a quick snapshot of what you are seeing on the inside.
That's right. So right here, the area has cleared out down here. It's just media downstairs. But of course, outside, as you mentioned, there were several protesters. And even, in fact, when I was standing in line to go into Judge Ellis's courtroom, there were people who were here from both sides who sat in the courtroom or who were escorted into an overflow room. Again, at this point in time, for anyone who's just joining us right now at the 12 o'clock hour, do want to let you know that we we have come out of this federal hearing for Gregory Bavino, the commander of Operation Midway Blitz for Border Patrol. He was escorted in just a short time ago, and we're waiting to see. He may have already left the building. There are some other exits that are covered, but we're waiting to see that. But the judge has set some clear expectations as to her TRO moving forward and starting tomorrow with seeing him in person each day.
And one more question for you, Nita. We only have a couple seconds, but was anyone else from CBP there, or was Greg Bavino the only officer?
The only person on his level for sure, but there were maybe 4 other Border Patrol agents who were in the courtroom, and I can tell you that as I was waiting to go into the courtroom, this hearing again started at 10 a.m. this morning, or a little bit after that. The judge arrived about 10:04. So when we were waiting to get into the courtroom, there were maybe 2 to 3 other federal agents who came up. I clearly looked at their chest. It said Customs and Border Patrol. They had masks on their face, and they just came up to kind of set the scene and make sure it was safe for him.
Anita Blanton inside the Dirksen Federal Courthouse for us this afternoon. We thank you.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Fox 32 News at noon. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalie Baumke.
I'm Anthony Ponce. Busy afternoon for us on a Tuesday as we continue our breaking coverage of this pivotal